Stop scrolling. If you walk into 2026 the same way you walked into 2025 on autopilot, then 2026 won't be a new year. It'll be the same year with a different number. Tonight, I'm not giving you motivation. I'm giving you a method. 6 questions, simple enough to answer in one sitting, powerful enough to change what you do every day. Because the truth is, your best year doesn't start on January 1st. It starts the moment you tell the truth about what broke you, what drained you, and what you kept tolerating. 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius, an emperor surrounded by chaos, wrote private notes to himself at night. Not to feel better, to become better. And his mindset gives us a calm, brutal advantage. We don't need a perfect life to build a great one. We need clarity. We need discipline. We need direction. So grab a pen, open your camera roll, open your calendar. In the next few minutes, you'll turn the last 12 months into a map, and you'll step into 2026 as a different person. Question 1. What were the low points of your year? Before we talk about winning 2026, we need to talk about what broke you in 2025. Not publicly, not dramatically, privately, honestly. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." But notice something important. He never said events were easy. He said they were unavoidable. So question 1 is not comfortable. It's necessary. What were the low points of your year? Not the story you tell other people. The real one. The day you woke up already tired. The month where everything felt heavier. The conversation that quietly changed a relationship. The habit that didn't explode your life, but slowly stole your confidence. Reset moment, say it with me. No shame, only facts. Because shame keeps you trapped in the past. Facts turn the past into training. Here's the science research from UCLA shows that when emotional experiences are named and written down, activity in the amygdala, the brain's fear center drops significantly. Stress lowers. Clarity increases. Avoidance keeps pain alive. Naming it dissolves its grip. So pause, breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 2, exhale for 6. Now write 3 to 7 low moments from this year. Not explanations, just moments. And ask these Stoic mini prompts: what hurt? What exhausted me? What did I avoid because it felt uncomfortable? What did I tolerate longer than I should have? Epictetus warned, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. But you cannot choose who you become if you refuse to face where you are. Maybe you'll realize you gave too much energy to people who gave nothing back. Maybe you'll see that burnout didn't arrive suddenly, it was ignored slowly. Maybe you'll notice the pattern you kept repeating because it felt familiar, not because it was good. This is not self-attack. This is self-command. Marcus used his journal as a battlefield report. What went wrong? What weakened discipline? What required correction? You're doing the same thing. Action step, write this sentence. The hardest part of my year was Einar, and it taught me ik Greek. Don't rush, because this answer will quietly shape every decision you make next year. And here's why this matters. If you don't choose your lessons, life repeats them. In the next part, we'll balance the scale. Because you are not only what hurt you, you are also what kept you going. And that's where real power begins. Question 2. What were the high points? Before you rush to fix your life, pause. Because there's something dangerous about only focusing on what went wrong. If you do that, you miss the clues that already tell you how to live well. Marcus Aurelius warned himself, do not overlook the value of these things, to see clearly, to act rightly, to be content. Notice contentment wasn't something he chased, it was something he observed. So now we balance the scale. Question 2. What were the high points of your year? Not only the big wins, not the moments that look impressive on social media, the quiet moments, the moments where your nervous system relaxed, the moments where life felt lighter. Reset moment, say it with me. Small moments count. Because here's the truth most people miss. Your brain remembers pain louder than joy. Psychologists call this negativity bias. Studies show negative experiences are processed up to 5 times more strongly than positive ones. That means if you don't deliberately look for the highs, your mind will lie to you and tell you the year was worse than it actually was. So we slow down. Open your camera roll. Open your calendar. Look for a laugh you didn't expect. A walk where your shoulders dropped. A conversation that made you feel understood. A book that changed how you think. A moment you didn't quit even though quitting was easier. A night you slept deeply. A meal shared without rushing. These are not small things. They are signals. Marcus wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and your thoughts are shaped by what you notice." Practical exercise. Write 5 to 10 highlights from the year, and next to each one answer this question. Why did this moment feel good? Was it presence, progress, connection, simplicity, courage? This is crucial because high points reveal your values. They show what your nervous system calls home. Reset, breathe with me. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 6. Say quietly, "This mattered." Here's a powerful insight from Stoicism. The Stoics didn't believe happiness came from more. They believed it came from alignment. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." So if one of your highs was a simple routine walking, journaling, cooking, reading, pay attention. That's not boring. That's stability. If one of your highs was a difficult conversation, you didn't avoid pay attention. That's courage. If one of your highs was saying no and protecting your time, pay attention. That's self-respect. If one of your highs was showing up for someone else, pay attention. That's meaning. Mini shock moment. Many people build their next year around what impressed others. Very few build it around what actually made them feel alive. Don't make that mistake. Write this sentence. When I look at my best moments, I see that I value. Chamali. This sentence becomes a compass. Because here's the danger. If you skip this step, you'll design a future that looks successful, but feels empty. Marcus reminded himself daily, ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? High points answer that question. They tell you what is worth repeating. Final exercise for this part. Circle 1, highlight you want more of next year, just 1. And answer, how often did this happen? Why don't I let it happen more? What would need to change for this to become normal? Don't solve it yet, just notice. Because in the next part we connect the dots. Highs and lows stop being memories. They become data, and that's where real strategy begins. Question 3. What did you learn about yourself? Most people finish a year with memories. Very few finish a year with wisdom. And the difference between the two is one question. Marcus Aurelius didn't journal to remember his life. He journaled to understand himself. He wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, who you are becoming is shaped by what you reflect on or refuse to. So now we arrive at the most important question so far. Question 3. What did you learn about yourself this year? This is the bridge. Without it, highs and lows stay emotional. With it, they become strategic. Reset moment, say it with me. Experience becomes wisdom only when reflected upon. Here's the science behind this. Studies published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology show that people who regularly reflect on their experiences, especially through structured writing, demonstrate higher emotional regulation, better decision-making, and increased long-term goal achievement. Life teaches everyone. Only reflection turns lessons into leverage. So let's do this the Stoic way, calm, honest, precise. Look at what you wrote in question 1 and question 2. Now complete these sentences slowly. I am at my best not when life is perfect, when you are aligned. Maybe it's when you have structure. Maybe it's when you move your body. Maybe it's when you spend time alone. Maybe it's when you're creating instead of consuming. I fall apart when This is not a weakness list. This is a pattern list. Lack of sleep, too much screen time, avoiding difficult conversations, letting resentment build quietly. Epictetus said, "He who does not know what the world is, does not know where he is." If you don't know what destabilizes you, you will keep walking into it. Reset, breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Say patterns are neutral. Awareness gives me choice. Continue, I need more. Be specific. Not more balance, more silence, more movement, more protein, more boundaries, more deep work. I need less. Less rushing, less comparison, less people-pleasing, less tolerance for things that drain you. Here's a hard truth. Many people don't fail because they lack discipline. They fail because they keep designing lives that violate their own nervous systems. Marcus warned himself, If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Your estimates, your assumptions about what you should tolerate matter. Now answer, I'm proud that this matters more than you think. Neuroscience shows that acknowledging effort, not just outcomes, reinforces identity-based change. If you never claim progress, your brain doesn't register growth. Did you keep going when it was hard? Did you ask for help? Did you stop pretending something was fine when it wasn't? Claim it. Finally, the line that defines your next year. Next year, I refuse to. Refusal is power. Refusal is boundary. Refusal is clarity. Maybe you refuse to abandon your body. Maybe you refuse to tolerate disrespect. Maybe you refuse to live without intention. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." This year tested you. What did it reveal? Core exercise, write this clearly. The main lesson this year taught me is worse in your chain, and next year I will live this lesson by ki action. This sentence is gold, because lessons not lived become regrets. Mini shock. If you skip this step, you will set goals that fight who you actually are. And that's why most goals collapse by February. But you're doing something different. In the next part, we stop drifting. We stop tolerating. We stop repeating. We choose what ends so something better can begin. Question 4. What will you stop doing in 2026? If you want 2026 to be different, you don't need more motivation. You need fewer tolerations. Most people try to change their lives by adding more habits, more goals, more pressure. The Stoics did the opposite. They started with subtraction. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. Notice the discipline here. Before improvement comes elimination. So here is question 4, and it may be the most uncomfortable one yet. What will you stop doing in 2026? Reset moment, say it with me. Stop is not weakness. Stop is strength. Because here's the truth. Your life improves faster by removing poison than by adding vitamins. There is a reason this works. Behavioral research from Stanford shows that willpower is a limited resource. Every unnecessary decision, every draining habit, every unresolved tolerance quietly taxes it. That's why subtraction creates immediate relief and clarity. So we don't make a long list. We choose one primary stop, one habit, one pattern, one relationship dynamic, one excuse, something you already know the cost of. Let's make this real. Maybe it's sacrificing sleep for scrolling. You tell yourself you're relaxing, but your body knows the truth. Chronic sleep deprivation is linked to a 33% increase in emotional reactivity and significantly lower impulse control. Maybe it's saying yes to avoid conflict. Every yes that betrays you becomes resentment later. Maybe it's negotiating with a habit you already know is destroying you. I'll stop next week. I'll just do it once. Marcus would call this self-betrayal. He wrote, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Reset, breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Say quietly. Clarity feels lighter. Now write this sentence slowly. In 2026, I stop. Temporary because it costs me oririma. That second blank matters more than the first. Costs aren't abstract. They are paid in energy, self-respect, time, health, presence. Most people don't quit what hurts them because the pain feels familiar. But familiarity is not safety. Seneca warned, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Many of the things you tolerate are no longer necessary, only habitual. Here's a powerful Stoic distinction. Endurance is noble only when the cause is worthy. Enduring nonsense is not virtue. It's neglect. Mini shock moment. If you don't consciously choose, what stops life will choose for you through burnout, resentment, or breakdown. This is why winners quit. They quit patterns that no longer align with their values. They quit roles they've outgrown. They quit habits that steal focus from what matters. Not impulsively, deliberately. Practical exercise. Ask yourself, if I keep doing this for another year, who will I become? Would I respect that version of myself? Would future me thank me or resent me? Write the answers honestly. Reset, say it with me. I am allowed to change my standards. Marcus changed his standards constantly. That's why he evolved. And here's the paradox. Stopping one thing creates space for many good things to grow. but you must protect that space. So make your stop visible. Write it on paper. Put it somewhere you'll see it. Not as punishment, as protection. Final commitment line. This year I stop with Shonan, even when it's uncomfortable because my future deserves better. Sit with that, because in the next part, we don't just stop, we stabilize. We identify what works and we protect it with consistency. Question 5, what will you continue doing? Most people ruin their progress not because they fail, but because they abandon what already works. They get bored. They doubt. They chase something new and quietly drop the habits that were holding them together. Marcus Aurelius warned himself, what you do every day matters more than what you do once in a while. This question is about protecting what works. Question 5. What will you continue doing? Reset moment, say it with me. Consistency is power. Stoicism is often misunderstood as harshness or discipline without joy. But Stoicism is really about stability, creating a life that doesn't collapse under pressure. And here's the science behind it. Research from University College London shows that habits formed through repetition, not intensity, are far more likely to stick long-term. On average, it takes 66 days for a behavior to become automatic. Not exciting, but effective. Your continue list is evidence. It proves you can keep promises. It's your identity in action. So we don't make this complicated. Pick 3 to 5 things that work this year, even imperfectly. Examples of continuing a morning walk. Continuing to read a few pages a day, continuing therapy, journaling, or reflection, continuing to learn a skill, continuing to make time for one person who matters. These are not small, they are anchors. Reset, breathe with me. Inhale for 4, exhale for 6. Say quietly, this keeps me steady. Marcus wrote, the mind adapts and converts to its own purposes, the obstacle to our acting. In other words, stability creates resilience. Here's a common trap. People assume progress must always feel like effort, but often progress feels like boring repetition. Walking doesn't feel heroic. Reading 10 pages doesn't feel dramatic. Saying no to unnecessary commitments doesn't look impressive. But these behaviors regulate your nervous system. They protect your energy. They make better decisions easier. Mini shock moment. Many people don't burn out because they do too much. They burn out because they stop doing the few things that ground them. That's why this question matters. Now ask yourself, which habits made bad days survivable? Which routines brought me back to myself? Which behaviors helped me think clearly? Write them down. Practical exercise. Next to each, continue write. When I do this, I feel chakinthand. When I skip this, I feel chanianand. The contrast will tell you everything. Seneca wrote, as long as you live, keep learning how to live. Continuing is learning through repetition. But here's the Stoic warning, and this is important. Do not abandon what works just because you're bored. Boredom is not a signal to quit. It's a signal to deepen. If walking helped, don't replace it, protect it. If journaling helped, don't upgrade it, schedule it. If one relationship nourished you, don't neglect it, prioritize it. Reset, say it with me, I don't need more. I need to protect what works. Now, one final layer. Your continue list should feel calming. If it feels overwhelming, you're doing too much. Stoicism values simplicity. Marcus reminded himself daily, do fewer things, but do them well. So circle the one habit on your list that matters most. This is your stabilizer. Because in the final part, we add something new. But we don't add chaos. We add one deliberate start built on the stability you've protected. That's how real change lasts. Question 6. What will you start doing? This is the moment everything changes. Not because you feel ready, not because fear disappears, but because you decide to begin anyway. Marcus Aurelius wrote, begin the morning by saying to thyself, I shall meet with busybody, the ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful. Why did he start his day this way? Because he understood a brutal truth. You don't wait for life to cooperate. You act in alignment despite uncertainty. So now we arrive at the final question, the one that turns clarity into motion. Question 6. What will you start doing in 2026? Reset moment, say it with me. Start small, start true. Most people think starting requires confidence. Stoics knew better. Confidence is the result of action, not the prerequisite. Modern neuroscience confirms this action precedes motivation. Dopamine is released after movement, not before. That's why waiting to feel ready keeps people stuck for years. So we don't start big. We start repeatable. You choose one keystone. Start a small habit that makes other habits easier. Examples: strength training twice a week, planning your week every Sunday, cooking one high-protein meal you can repeat, 20 minutes of focused learning per day, reaching out to one person weekly. These are not dramatic. They are strategic. Reset, breathe, inhale, exhale. Say quietly, I build momentum, not miracles. Marcus reminded himself nothing has such power to broaden the mind as the ability to investigate systematically everything that comes before it. Starting is investigation. You're not committing forever, you're testing alignment. Now make it real. For your start, answer 3 questions. When will I do this? Be specific. Not sometime. Sunday evening, Monday morning, after dinner. Where will I do this? Environment beats willpower. Your surroundings either support the habit or sabotage it. What is the smallest version I will do even on a bad day? 5 push-ups, 1 page, 1 message, 10 minutes. This matters because research shows habits that have a defined minimum viable version are far more likely to survive stress. Mini shock moment. Most people don't quit because it's hard. They quit because they make it too complicated. Stoicism values simplicity because simplicity survives chaos. Seneca wrote, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Your start is preparation. Now write this sentence clearly. In 2026, I start my money because it moves me toward the person I want to become. That last part matters. You're not starting to impress anyone. You're starting to align with yourself. And if fear shows up, good. Fear is not a stop sign. Fear is confirmation that something meaningful is at stake. Reset, say it with me. I am allowed to begin before I feel ready. Now zoom out. You've done something most people never do. You faced what hurt, you honored what mattered, you extracted lessons, you chose what ends, you protected what works, and now you begin. This is not goal setting. This is identity design. Marcus Aurelius never knew his private notes would outlive empires. But they did because they were written for one purpose: to become better through deliberate action. Final exercise, do this now. Write your 1-page 2026 map. My stop. My continues. My start. The value I protect this year. The person I am becoming. I am someone who... Look at it. This is not hope. This is direction. If you want 2026 to be your best year, don't keep this in your head. Do this, write your answers. Take a photo of your 1-page 2026 map. Put it as your phone wallpaper for 7 days. And if you're watching on Making Life Better, comment below just one line. In 2026, I stopped trying nice. Because identity becomes real when you declare it. If you want more videos like this, stoic, practical, and calm, subscribe and share this with one person you want to grow with. See you in 2026. And remember, the best year isn't found, it's built.